Another day down brings us one day closer to Usman versus Covington. The hardest, the closest, and the dirtiest fight I have ever seen. We're one day closer. Look, if I was to tell you guys, in the spirit of anticipation, and you always get somebody that wants to tell you it's going to be a great fight. I mean, right? It's just a weird thing to say. It's the most lazy approach to getting somebody to tune. It's going to be a great. Why are we here? What is this about and what's interesting? What's at stake? It's a much harder story to tell, but it's way more effective. And if I was to ask you guys, in the world of anticipation, what fight have you most looked forward to? Give me your top 5. Probably make you think. You'd probably enjoy that process. There'd be some nostalgia and you'd look back. But I will tell you, this is the heights. For me. Kamaru versus Colby Part 1. Everything that went into that. You guys remember the buffet line that was at the Palms and they got caught on security camera and they both got lifetime bans? I mean, just these things kept happening organically. Colby rushes Dana while doing an Instagram live, finds Dana on his own time. I mean, you remember all these things that went into this? It was like that great moment when, whether it was Stipe yelling through the ring, give me my shot, or St. Pierre dropping on his knees and begging, or Khabib waiting at Dana's car with his hat on the hood and he takes a picture and sends it to him. Like there's some fights that just get made in this wonderful way. This is part 2, which is always bigger than the original. Not to mention, it's the hardest, closest, dirtiest fight I've ever seen. And the only reason this fight was not remade and announced that night at the press conference. Remember the last time that's happened? That would be Figueiredo versus Moreno, which in all fairness was not a big fight the first time. Wasn't a huge fight the second time. It ended up having huge meaning because you had the first ever Mexican-born champion, but nobody knew how the story would end. And it's not a mega fight the third time it's going to happen, but it is the right one. It's the right fight. Moreno and Figueiredo are the top 2 guys. Figueiredo gave an opportunity to Moreno. That's got to be returned. I'm only setting the stage for you because generally a post-fight press conference, it's very rare that a fight gets made. You have to sit back. You have to let everybody do their bidding. You got to see where the pundits go. You got to see which way the wind blows. I mean, there's a lot to running it. There's a lot. And you just need a few days to let everything settle. But Moreno Figueiredo was such a surprise and such a fantastic match. It was made that night. I use it as an example to tell you Colby and Kamaru would have qualified and been made that night. It was amazing, but there was a rumor going around that Colby had a broken jaw. To this day, I don't know if that's true. I've always believed it wasn't, just because of the way that the story came out, which was done by the announcers during the fight. How the hell would you know if he's got a broken jaw? What do you got X-ray vision? So because I knew the announcers would not be armed with adequate information to make such a determination, I therefore concluded that it was false. They could have been right. Maybe he did have a broken jaw. Either way, the only reason that fight did not get made, I'm talking about part 2, that night at the press conference, is because the rumor was out there that Colby had a broken jaw. Therefore, why announce a fight that you can't do when one guy's about to be on the reserve list for who knows how long? It's very important to the entire story. It really is. It's a great piece to the entire story. And Colby's now weighed in on it earlier today and said it was a photoshopped X-ray. Now, if there is an X-ray going around of which I have never seen and don't know about, it most certainly was not photoshopped. But that's interesting to me. The mere claim that it was photoshopped is interesting to me. When Kamaru Usman knocked Colby down, Colby claims he slipped. That, for me, is interesting because he's not trying to fib. We all saw it. He's got all of us. We're all in on the gag. We're all in on the story that's being told. And now you get to choose whether you want to sit back and enjoy it or be a jerk.